The owner of a bankrupt restaurant allowed a beggar and his daughter to live in the restaurant while it was for sale. But when he entered without knocking, he couldn't believe what the beggar was capable of. Daniel sat on the sidewalk, waiting for his daughter to come home from school. He chose a side street away from the main exit to stay out of sight. They don't understand, he thought. If only they knew how hard I'm trying to get our life back, they wouldn't look at me like that. Daniel was deep in thought, contemplating the harsh realities of his life. Maybe I should try harder, look harder. Maybe there's something I haven't thought of. He thought. There must be a way, there must be. Suddenly, a sweet and energetic voice broke his train of thought. Daddy, I'm here. You can't imagine how much I have to tell you. It was Lily, running towards him with a huge smile on her face. I've learned so much. Even the teacher praised me and said I was very intelligent. She spoke nonstop, every word full of enthusiasm. Daniel stood up, his face lit up with his daughter's happiness. Tell me everything, my dear, but let's walk and talk, or we'll miss lunch, he said as he picked up his daughter's backpack. They walked side by side down the street. Daniel listened intently as Lily told him about her day. The conversation continued until they approached Michael Oliver's restaurant. Daniel and Lily walked through the alley next to the restaurant. Michael, a middle-aged man with a serious expression that rarely left his face, had a heart as big as his frame. Despite his stern appearance, his generosity knew no bounds, especially to those in need. As usual, a small group of homeless people had gathered in the alley, waiting for their meal of the day. The inviting aroma filled the air. Hello, Daniel. Hello, Lily. How are you today? You arrived just in time. I was just restocking the pots, Michael greeted. Well, thank you for your help, Mr. Michael. You don't know how much this means to us. I think I would be lost trying to find something for my daughter, Daniel replied, his voice full of gratitude. You don't have to thank me every time you come, Daniel. It should be the duty of. I have something special today. I hope you like it. If you don't, it's my daughter's fault, Michael joked as he filled a food container. Daniel and Lily thanked him, took the filled container, and sat down in the alley to share the meal. Lily chattered away as they enjoyed the food. When they were almost finished, Michael appeared, walked up to them, and sat next to Daniel. It was common for him to sit and chat with them, but this time his demeanor seemed different. Daniel noticed the change in his friend's mood and felt a twinge of concern. What's wrong, Michael? You look worried. Is it something with the restaurant or with your daughter? Michael hesitated, but finally shared his situation with Daniel. Things are not going well. I'm facing serious financial problems. The customer base has decreased significantly in the last few months, and the debts are piling up. I'm afraid if things don't change soon, I'll have to close down and sell. His voice was a mixture of desperation and fear. Daniel remained silent for a moment, absorbing Michael's words. The restaurant was not just a source of meals for him and Lily. It was a symbol of hope, a reminder that there was still kindness in the world. Isn't there a solution? Something we can do to help? The restaurant can't just close after so many years, Daniel asked. Michael shrugged, a gesture of near surrender. I really don't know, Daniel. I've tried everything. I've advertised the restaurant, I've offered discounts, but nothing seems to be working. Mr. Michael, you help us when we need it most. There must be some way we can give something back. Let's think of something to help, I promise. Maybe we can find a way to draw attention to the restaurant, something you haven't tried yet. Even though he had no idea what they could do, the determination in his voice was clear. Daniel knew the situation was serious, but he refused to just accept fate. Michael smiled weakly, touched by the offer of help. Thank you, Daniel. Your willingness to help, even with your own struggles, means a lot to me. Even though I have no idea how you can help, I sincerely hope you can get through this, Michael said. I know very well what it's like to lose everything suddenly, Daniel replied. It's a terrible feeling, and I wouldn't wish it on anyone. His eyes reflected a deep sadness, but also an intimate understanding of Michael's situation. Moved by Daniel's empathy, the man encouraged him to tell him more. You never told me much about how you ended up like this. What exactly happened to you? I worked in advertising. It was a career I loved. You know, creativity, strategy. I was really good at what I did, but the company couldn't keep up with the market. The clients were down. We cut back and finally, we closed the doors. I was one of the last to be laid off, hoping things would change. The memory of his last day in the office was still vivid. The shock and disbelief of his colleagues, the sadness in everyone's eyes. The weeks that followed were the worst I could have imagined. The worst imaginable. I looked for a job every day, but nothing came. The rent started to fall behind. The savings ran out, and then one day, the worst happened. We were evicted, me and Lily. Daniel paused, the pain of that moment still fresh in his mind. Suddenly, without a job, without a home, not knowing how to protect my girl, it was all very desperate. Daniel's eyes drifted into the void for a moment, reliving the agony of feeling like he was living a nightmare. Michael listened in silence, absorbing every word of Daniel's story. I am so sorry for everything you have been through. Your strength and determination, even in the face of so much adversity, is truly inspiring. I hope things turn around for both of you, as I hope they will for me. We will get through this somehow, but it takes a lot of courage, Michael said sincerely and admiringly. Daniel smiled gratefully. Thank you, Michael. Your help is already making a big difference for us, even though there is not much I can do, you know? The way to the corner they called home led to a tent they had set up under the roof of a small abandoned house. A place that, despite everything, offered at least a roof against the wind and the rain. The door of the house was always open, inviting, but Daniel respected the invisible boundaries set by the possibility of an unknown owner and never dared to enter the house, limiting himself to the use of the small covered area. The day passed without another meal, and as night fell, Daniel and Lily settled down to sleep in the tent, the silence filled only by the sound of their soft breathing and the occasional distant sounds of the city. Daniel stared at the tent ceiling, lost in thought. I have to find a way out for us. Sooner or later, a solution will appear. I'm sure of it, he thought, his mind working tirelessly to find solutions. She is all I have, and I am all she has. For me, I cannot give up. With this last determined thought, he also fell asleep. Part of the night passed calmly and quietly, but the stillness of the early morning was abruptly broken by a harsh and authoritative voice, waking father and daughter inside the tent. You two get out now. Get out, or I will have to tear this tent down. You hear? The voice, loaded with authority, made them both wake up frightened, their hearts pounding against their chests. Dad, what's going on? Why are they calling us? She whispered in a trembling voice. Daniel, trying to remain calm in the face of his daughter's obvious fear, replied in a low, steady voice. Stay here, Lily. I'll go see what's going on. Don't leave the tent, he instructed, trying to convey a sense of security he didn't feel himself. As he stepped outside, Daniel encountered the imposing figure of a police officer with a patrol car parked on the street, its red and blue lights flashing in the darkness. The officer wasted no time. With a stern expression, he said, You are trespassing on this property, and from the state of the gate, it looks like you broke the entrance as well. The accusation was serious, and Daniel quickly tried to explain the situation. Sir, we have not trespassed on anything. The gate has always been open, and the house is completely abandoned. We were just trying to take shelter here, Daniel said, his voice filled with desperation, but his words seemed to mean nothing. It doesn't matter. You can't stay here. Abandoned or not, this is private property. If you don't leave now, I will be forced to arrest you and take the girl away. The threat was clear, and Daniel knew he had no choice. The fear of being separated from Lily, of leaving his daughter alone, was unbearable. Resigned and bending down to look inside the tent, Daniel said to Lily, We have to go now. Grab your backpack. We'll find another place to rest. All right? He said, trying to hide the tremor in his voice. Daniel felt the weight of the officer's gaze on his back and tried with all his might to ignore the urge to run as fast as he could. As they walked under the cover of night, Daniel fought the tears that threatened to escape. Lily felt her father's tension and sadness and held his hand tighter. Daniel looked down into his daughter's face and saw a resilience that never ceased to amaze him. "Okay, Dad. At least those bad men didn't hurt you, so it's going to be okay," she said with a conviction that tugged at Daniel's heart. He wanted to believe her words, wanted to find the same strength he saw in his daughter, but the uncertainty of what came next weighed on him. Daniel thought as they walked further away, leaving behind the only shelter they had. "I can't cry in front of her, no matter how much I want to. I have to stay strong." Walking under the vastness of the night, Daniel and Lily finally came to a park, a quiet place where they could rest. Lily's emotions were visible as she fought sleep and fatigue with every step she took. Daniel noticed his daughter's struggle and chose a secluded bench, a place where they could rest for a moment. Gently placing Lily on his lap, he offered the little comfort he could in this uncertain situation. Before falling asleep again, Lily mumbled in a weak voice, "Daddy, I'm hungry. Is there anything to eat till morning? I don't really like the school food." These simple, direct words struck Daniel like a dagger. The feeling of powerlessness in the face of his daughter's hunger was overwhelming. "How can I protect you from the world if I can't even give you something to eat?" he thought, the pain of this reality cutting deep. Fighting back the tears that threatened to fall, Daniel stroked Lily's hair, trying to offer some comfort. "I know, my love, I know. But tomorrow at school, you can eat during recess. Just a little more patience, okay? It'll be morning soon." With eyes heavy with fatigue and hunger, Lily looked up at her father and smiled. "Daddy, I'm sorry. I don't like the school food." She smiled. "Okay, Dad. I love you very much, you know. I promised to get you some cookies," she said before finally falling asleep. Alone with his thoughts as Lily slept peacefully in his lap, Daniel allowed himself to cry quietly, the tears falling freely, each carrying the weight of the failure he felt as a father. "God, how long do I have to let her live like this?" he reflected, his heart crushed by the pain and the unconditional love he felt for his daughter. Looking up at the night sky, Daniel searched the stars for some sign of hope. "Please give me the strength to change our luck. I'll accept anything. I'll do anything. I just need a chance," he whispered to the universe. A silent prayer of a father desperate for a better future for his daughter. With the dawn of a new day, the routine repeated itself. With Lily by his side, Daniel walked to her school, a ritual that gave him a sense of normalcy and purpose despite the circumstances. Marked by a latent worry about what the future held for them, when it came time to pick up his daughter, Daniel stood in his usual spot, waiting for Lily with an anxiety masked by calm. Father and daughter walked together to Michael's restaurant, but as they approached, a new blow awaited them. A "For sale" sign was nailed to the front of the restaurant. Daniel's heart sank at the sight, the reality of the situation cutting deeper than he expected. "My daughter eats more than once a day. I won't let this happen," he thought, his shock turning into a firm decision. In the alley, as they prepared for the day's meal, curiosity and concern drove Daniel to ask Michael about the sign. "Michael, what about the sign? I can't believe you're giving up the restaurant. I know you too well to see you give up like this." Michael's look was a mixture of resignation and sadness, a mirror of the inner struggle he was facing. "Daniel, I had no choice. The restaurant's financial situation was becoming unsustainable. I'm sorry for you and everyone else, but there's nothing more I can do. But for this week, I guarantee you'll still have something to eat. I have to travel for a week, and my daughter will take care of things here in the meantime. She'll take care of you too." Amidst the whirlwind of emotions and worries that plagued Daniel, his mind was working frantically. What if we have no place to get food? What if things get even worse? The thoughts overlapped, each bringing its own burden of fear and anxiety. Then, in the midst of this storm of worry, a spark of inspiration illuminated the darkness of Daniel's despair. His experience and skills in advertising, which for so long seemed to belong to a past life, suddenly appeared as the key to a solution. "I know. I already know how I can help, he realized. A wave of determination replaced the fear, and he looked at Michael with renewed intensity. Daniel made his proposal. Michael, I have a solution. Give me this week. Let me use my advertising skills to attract more customers to the restaurant. In exchange, my daughter and I will sleep in the storage room, just to have a safe place to spend the night. His voice was full of hope, but also urgency that left no doubt about the seriousness of his offer. Michael was initially surprised by it. The restaurant was on the brink, and the idea of selling seemed to be the only way out. But Daniel's proposal was something completely unexpected, a ray of hope. After a few moments of thought, Michael nodded. All right, Daniel, it's a deal. In a week, if you can bring in more customers and show that there is hope for this place, I'll reconsider the sale. His decision, though cautious, was a vote of confidence in Daniel. When he heard Michael's answer, the responsibility of saving the restaurant, along with the chance to provide a safe haven for Lily, was immense. Thank you, Michael. I promise I will do everything to make this work. You won't be disappointed. I promise. Daniel had a more peaceful day, finally having a place for them to rest. They returned to the restaurant just before dusk and found the storeroom door carefully opened. They peered inside and saw a young woman arranging a mattress among the boxes, a simple but meaningful gesture. The woman looked up in surprise, but her face quickly lit up with a welcoming smile. You must be Daniel, she said, approaching with a friendly expression. I'm Emma, Michael's daughter. And this must be Lily, right? What a beautiful girl, she said warmly as she bent down to greet Lily, who was watching the scene curiously. Emma invited them inside. Please come in. Sit down. Make yourself comfortable. Make yourself at home. I made some hot soup to welcome you. I thought you might be hungry. Just wait here. I'll get it right away. She left, and soon the three found themselves sitting on boxes in the storage room, each enjoying a nice bowl of soup. Daniel and Lily accepted the meal with gratitude, the tantalizing aroma of the soup filling the air. As they ate, Daniel asked about Michael. Your father, he said he was traveling. Did he leave today? I thought he would still be here when I got back. I know he trusts me to handle things around here, and that makes me even more confident that I can do it. You seem to have the same intelligence and kindness as your father. You will surely succeed, Daniel said with a smile, receiving a shy smile in return. By the way, this soup is truly wonderful. You must have inherited your father's cooking skills. Do you like to cook? She replied with a nod, her eyes glowing with passion. With obvious passion, she said, Yes, I really enjoy cooking. It's a form of expression for me, but it's not what I want to do with my life. I've always dreamed of making a living from music. Cooking appeals to the soul, but music appeals to the heart. Daniel listened intently, impressed by Emma's passion. Music has that power, doesn't it? It makes us feel connected to something bigger, something beyond words. I've always liked it too. I played instruments, did you know? I know piano, guitar, and a little violin. It was a rare scene for Lily to see her father so engaged in conversation, a sincere smile lighting up his face in a way she almost didn't recognize. The happiness emanating from him was quite different, a welcome change from the constant worry that seemed to weigh on his shoulders lately. As the conversation flowed naturally between Daniel and Emma, Lily waited patiently for a chance to join in. When her thoughts finally found a moment of silence, Lily spoke with the sweetness and sincerity that only a child could possess. Daddy, Emma would make a great mommy, don't you think? Daniel, caught off guard by Lily's remark, felt his face turn a deep shade of red. Embarrassment and awkwardness immediately washed over him as he searched for the right words to apologize while laughing nervously. Lily, for God's sake. Emma, I'm so sorry. She's just a kid. You know how kids are, right? He stammered, not quite knowing what to say. Emma blushed at the comment, but her reaction was met with genuine laughter and a warm smile. Don't worry, Daniel. She's absolutely adorable. I understand. With all this difficult situation for you two, she really must be missing a mother, Emma said, her voice full of affection and amusement. This brief interlude of discomfort did not dampen the spirit of the evening. On the contrary, it added a layer of intimacy and humanity to the meeting. The conversation stretched on for some time until Emma decided to leave. After Emma left, Daniel and Lily settled down on the mattress that now served as their bed in the confined space of the storage room. The environment was quiet, a comfortable silence filling the room after the energy and warmth of Emma's presence. As they lay down and tried to find comfort on the makeshift mattress, Lily broke the silence. "Father, I saw the way you looked at Emma. You like her, don't you? No point in lying to me. You looked so silly." The question, asked with disarming simplicity, made Daniel laugh. "Surprise. Time to sleep, little one. No more talk for tonight." "I'm tired," he said, though his heart was warmed by her observation. Lily added with a smile, "She liked you too. I can tell. She was silly with you too." Her words, spoken with the confident innocence of youth, left Daniel surprised. He watched as she closed her eyes, a satisfied smile on her lips as she drifted off to sleep, leaving Daniel alone with his thoughts. Daniel's mind turned to the possibility of her statement. Could it be true? Could Emma really have felt something for me? Or is it just Lily's imagination? He dismissed it as a child's fertile imagination, though the idea seemed somewhat unlikely to be real. He definitely felt something for Emma, but the reality of their circumstances made mutual feelings seem impossible. As these thoughts enveloped Daniel, he drifted off to sleep. The next morning, Emma served Daniel and Lily breakfast with her usual energy, a kindness that went beyond the expected. As they enjoyed the simple but lovingly prepared meal, Emma asked Daniel about his plans for the restaurant. "Do you have any idea what you're going to do to help the restaurant? My father said you were good at advertising and might have some ideas about what to do." Chewing his bread, Daniel replied, "I'm still thinking, but I'd like to take a look around the place. Maybe I'll get some ideas then. You know how advertising is. It's really important to create something eye-catching." Emma, recognizing Daniel's need for space and time to work, offered to take Lily to school. "I can take Lily so you can concentrate better and have more time to think about your plans." The offer was more than just a gesture of help. It was a sign of trust to support Daniel's efforts. Gratefully, Daniel accepted. "Thank you, Emma. I assure you that all your support and concern for both of us will not be in vain, nor will your father's trust in me." His gratitude was deep, and he was relieved to know that Lily would be in good hands. After the girls left, Daniel walked through the door from the pantry to the kitchen. The silence of the enclosed space was profound, but to Daniel, it was a vast field of potential. As he inspected the place, his eyes landed on an easel with a chalkboard near the entrance, the welcome sign inviting customers inside. It was then that an idea began to take shape in his mind. When Emma returned, Daniel was waiting for her, sitting on the boxes in the storage room. The energy of his new idea was overflowing with anticipation as he shared his vision with her. What if we used this entrance sign to announce something different, something that would make people want to come in and see what was going on? The excitement in his voice was contagious. Daniel continued, "We could advertise special dishes, promotions, or even themed events. Something that changes regularly and creates a sense of novelty and anticipation." He spoke with confidence, his experience in advertising shining through the plan. Emma listened attentively, her face lit up at the prospect of positive change, but she still showed some uncertainty. "The idea is really good, Daniel, but we need to consider the current conditions of the restaurant. Can we afford it?" Daniel nodded, fully understanding Emma's reservations. He closed his eyes for a moment, letting his mind work through the tangle of possibilities, searching for a creative solution that would fit the situation. Then, as if a light bulb went off in his head, an idea came to him. What if we had games? For example, a customer could order a random dish, any dish on the menu, but it would be served to them as a surprise, he suggested. Emma's hesitation quickly gave way to growing excitement. She was fascinated by the simplicity and ingenuity of the idea. "This is brilliant, Daniel. It's a fun and engaging way to get people into the restaurant without a big investment, and it creates an incredible experience for the customers," she exclaimed, her admiration for Daniel's creativity only growing. His face flushed at the sudden closeness, embarrassment mixed with a hint of joy coloring his cheeks red as he gently returned the hug. As they stood and stepped back, both with shy smiles on their lips, the energy between them had subtly changed. Daniel cleared his throat and tried to bring the conversation back to the point. "Let's start planning then. We need to spread the word and maybe even think of other games or events we can do." Emma agreed, inspired by Daniel's determination. "Yes, let's do that. I have some other ideas that might work well, considering the limited budget." The conversation continued, both exchanging thoughts and suggestions. A sense of renewed hope filled the room. At this moment, the future of Michael's restaurant seemed to be on the verge of being saved. The plan was carefully outlined, and the excitement was growing. Emma took the initiative to implement the idea. She took the board and, in clear and inviting handwriting, wrote the phrase, "Hope to attract the curious. Order a random dish and guess the name. If you get it right, your meal is free." Placing the sign on the street was an act filled with a mixture of nervousness and hope, a gamble on human creativity and curiosity to rejuvenate the restaurant. When it opened, Emma was busy in the kitchen, trying to distract herself with the daily chores. Washing the few dishes there were, cleaning, and drying as she went. Will anyone be interested? What if no one wants to take the risk? Just because the idea is good doesn't mean it will work, she thought. Anxiety grew, but she tried to keep faith in the plan. Then a sound broke the silence and tension of the setting. The bell at the door announcing the arrival of a customer. Emma's heart raced, and she quickly wiped her hands on her apron before going to greet them. There stood a man with a look of obvious curiosity as he asked about the sign. "I saw the sign at the entrance." His voice was a mixture of interest and challenge. Emma explained the dynamic with an enthusiasm she could barely contain. "You order a random dish from our menu, and I will prepare it for you. Before you taste it, you try to guess the name of the dish. If you get it right, food and drink are on the house." The sparkle in her eyes was undeniable. The hope that this simple interaction could be the beginning of something greater seemed to amuse the customer. "Quite interesting. I'll accept the challenge. Let's see how it goes," he said, sitting down at one of the tables. "I'd like a random dish, please." Emma, almost in disbelief at her own good fortune, nodded and hurried to the kitchen to prepare the first dish of the day. A new energy filled her. This could really work, she thought, allowing herself an optimistic smile. Meanwhile, in the storeroom, Daniel spent the day in a mixture of anxiety and anticipation, alternately checking and rechecking his ideas. The lack of news fueled his worries and made him wonder if the plan had really worked. What if no one was interested? What if it was a complete failure? No, I can't think like that. I have to stay positive. It will work out. It's just a matter of time, he thought, trying to push the bad thoughts away and focus on the hope that Emma was simply too busy to come to the storage room. He waited for Emma all morning, but given the time, he had to leave. Daniel had to pick up his daughter from school. When he returned, his worry turned to curiosity as he saw Emma going about her daily routine of feeding the homeless in the alley. As soon as she saw them arrive, her enthusiasm was impossible to contain. She hurried to bring them inside. "You will not believe what happened. The idea is working. We had more customers today than usual. You're doing it, Daniel. You're truly brilliant." Her joy was contagious, her eyes shining with success. Daniel could not contain a laugh of pure happiness when he heard the news. The fact that only 4 customers had guessed the names of the dishes was the icing on the cake. It meant that not only had the idea attracted more people, but the restaurant was making a profit. But still, we can't rest on our laurels. We have to keep innovating and bringing in new things. While I was in the storage room, I was thinking about the next step. What if we tried something similar with juices? Emma, still under the influence of the day's excitement, greeted the suggestion with enthusiasm. "Great. I love it. I find that people are drawn to challenges, especially the younger ones." The next day, a new sign was strategically placed on the street announcing the novelty. Order a random juice and guess the flavor. If you get it right, drink as much as you want. Expectations were high. Although the idea attracted a certain number of people, Emma noticed that the increase in customers was not as significant as they had hoped when compared to the previous day's increase. The afternoon progressed at the same pace, with each customer who entered bringing a certain curiosity. However, the number of people dwindled as the day progressed, without much change in the overall movement of the restaurant. At the end of the day, Emma found Daniel in the storage room, his expression filled with concern. "I think we need something more eye-catching. Something that sets us apart from the other restaurants. Something that really catches the eye," she confessed, her words tinged with desperation. The sincerity and urgency in her voice reflected the pressure they both felt to revive the restaurant. Noticing Emma's concern, Daniel's mind wandered, searching for a solution. Then he remembered something Emma had mentioned earlier, her passion for music. "Emma, you said you liked music, right? Do you play any instruments, or have you ever performed in front of an audience?" Emma, surprised by the sudden shift in the conversation, hesitated for a moment. "Yes, I like music and I play a little guitar, but I've never performed before. I just sing to myself and my dad." "What exactly are you thinking?" There was a hint of suspicion in her voice, a certain fear of where this conversation might lead. Daniel, with a smile on his lips, let his silence speak for itself. His expression prompted an immediate understanding in Emma, who quickly recoiled. Emma quickly recoiled. "You're not suggesting I perform, are you, Daniel?" "I don't know if I can. I won't deny it's a good idea, but what if I get too nervous and can't sing?" As the conversation took an unexpected turn, Daniel noticed the hesitation and fear in Emma's eyes. The idea of performing in public seemed to frighten her, but Daniel was willing to try and work around the problem. "How about this? Start by singing just for me and Lily. Consider it a rehearsal. If you manage to sing for us, you can perform fearlessly," he suggested. The idea of singing, even in front of a small and friendly audience, was a challenge that touched on her deepest insecurities. "But what if I sing out of tune?" "I'm not all that, Daniel. I'm an amateur singer. I have no technique. I've never really studied to be able to sing like this," Emma said. Her voice a mixture of fear and a desire to share her passion. Daniel didn't give up. "Emma, we trust you, and no matter what happens, we'll be there. It's a chance to showcase your talent, even if it's just for the two of us." Lily, always the biggest supporter, joined her father. "I really want to hear you sing, Emma. Please? I'm sure you sing like a princess, like in the movies," she said earnestly. After a moment of reflection, Emma conceded. "All right, I'll try, but I can't promise anything." "Okay, I can sing for you, but that doesn't mean I'll sing for the whole restaurant." That night, the storage room was transformed into an impromptu stage. The three of them sat on crates, with Daniel playing the guitar and Emma unleashing her voice. As she began to sing, her sweet and melodious voice filled the room, revealing a hidden talent that not even Daniel could have predicted. As he watched her sing, Daniel discovered a new passion. Watching Emma sing was an experience that warmed his heart, a new and deep feeling that completely enveloped him, leaving him enchanted in a way he had never experienced before. The sensation of watching Daniel play, the way his skilled hands drew melodies from the guitar, was like witnessing some kind of magic. At that moment, Emma realized that her admiration for music and the act of singing was only part of the reason for her emotions. What truly enchanted her was Daniel himself. After the last note was played and the last verse sung, Emma was radiant. The experience of performing, at first terrifying, had become a cause for excitement. "Thank you so much for this, really. Now I know I can do this, and I will give it my all. Let's bring music to the restaurant," she said, her voice full of newfound confidence. And a musical challenge for customers. Live music, guess the name of the song, and win a dessert. This unusual promise for a neighborhood restaurant piqued the curiosity of many and drew a crowd seeking not just a meal but an experience. Daniel had taken it upon himself to build a makeshift stage out of fruit crates, creating a cozy space for Emma to perform. Little Lily was not to be outdone. assisting her father with an earnestness and dedication that was enchanting. She passed ingredients, picked up plates and glasses, and moved about the kitchen with a grace that only children possess. As the afternoon wore on, the restaurant filled with customers drawn by the novelty of live music and the challenge that Emma offered with her sweet and captivating voice. As she transformed the room with her melodies, each song was greeted with enthusiastic applause, and the customers eagerly joined the game, each trying to guess the names of the songs to win the promised dessert. Meanwhile, Daniel, busy with the demands of the crowded restaurant, never missed an opportunity to admire Emma whenever he could. Every time he passed the stage, he took a moment to watch her sing, a smile always on his lips. When Daniel returned to the kitchen after one of these moments, Lily, with her keen observation, commented, "Daddy, you have that goofy smile again. I haven't given up on having a mommy," she said with a hint of mischief in her voice. Daniel, caught off guard by Lily's comment, quickly turned back to work. He tried to keep his voice neutral, but his heart was light, and he felt almost buoyant. It was obvious that for Daniel, this day was not just about the survival of the restaurant. In the days that followed, Michael's restaurant grew in popularity with each passing day. It was against this backdrop of success and infectious joy that Michael returned from his trip. As he approached the restaurant, Michael could hardly believe what he saw. The entrance was packed with people, a scene he hadn't seen in a long time. The sound of his daughter Emma's voice, singing to an enchanted audience, reached his ears and mingled with the cheerful murmur of the customers. Surprised to see Daniel, who had assumed the role of waiter with the naturalness and elegance of a professional, Michael was further amazed by Daniel's impeccable attire and radiant smile. Daniel greeted Michael with genuine joy. "Welcome back, Michael. How was your trip? I hope it wasn't too tiring," he said with a simplicity that hid the effort and dedication behind the transformation of the restaurant. Michael, still trying to comprehend this situation, laughed with emotion and allowed himself to cry with happiness for the first time in a long time. The success he saw before his eyes was something he had never imagined possible in his darkest moments. "You've done an incredible job. It's a real miracle. I owe you my life, Daniel." Despite the emotion, Michael quickly returned to his seriousness. "But it seems we don't have much time for talking and crying. We have a lot of work to do. Come back to action," he declared, taking his place in the restaurant with renewed energy. The collaboration between him and Daniel flowed naturally, as if they had been a well-oiled team for years. This moment marked not only the restaurant's recovery but also the birth of a new family, united not by blood but by shared dreams, efforts, and, above all, music. The transformation of Michael's restaurant into a vibrant and joyful gathering place was living proof that even in the darkest moments, hope and creativity could open unexpected paths, bringing light and color to the darkest days. At the end of a busy day, the restaurant finally found its well-deserved rest. As Emma and Lily enjoyed a moment of peace in the kitchen, tucking into leftover dessert, Michael, filled with a sense of pure gratitude, wasted no time in expressing his thanks to Daniel. "I don't know how to thank you for everything you've done. You don't know how much this all means to me and my daughter. It wasn't just her who put on a show. It was you too, my friend." Daniel, humbled as ever, thanked him for the compliment. With a bit of creativity and the help of everyone, especially Emma, we managed to overcome the challenges. "I didn't expect it. I didn't do it alone, Mr. Michael. I couldn't have done it without you," Daniel added. Michael smiled as he heard Daniel's acknowledgement of Emma's role in this achievement. "Say what you will, but you cannot deny how skilled you were tonight. You served the customers as if you had been doing it for years, and they seemed very pleased with the food. You have proven yourself to be an excellent waiter and cook." Then the conversation took an unexpected turn, with Michael's expression suddenly becoming serious and direct. "But I really hope you'll be as good a son-in-law as you are a worker. Or did you think I hadn't noticed the smiles between you?" he declared, making an observation that took Daniel completely by surprise. The mention of the possibility of a deeper relationship between Daniel and Emma, coming from Michael, made Daniel's face turn a deep red. The idea that his feelings for Emma could be so obvious as to be noticed by Michael left him speechless, a mixture of happiness and embarrassment flooding his being. "I don't know what to say," Daniel stammered and laughed nervously. After that day, the course of everyone's lives took an unexpected turn. Michael's astute observations about Daniel and Emma's connection proved true. Daniel proposed to Emma shortly after Michael's return. Emma's positive response came as no surprise to either Lily or Michael. The wedding was celebrated 2 months later. In the meantime, Daniel had become part of the restaurant team, joining forces with Emma to not only keep the establishment thriving, but to pursue bigger dreams together. Lily, who had become a constant and joyful presence at the restaurant and in Daniel and Emma's lives, received the news that she would have a new sibling with indescribable joy. This announcement gave new meaning to what was already a story of overcoming and unity, symbolizing the beginning of a promising and loving line for years to come. Daniel's innovative vision, combined with Michael's tireless dedication and Emma's unwavering support, made the restaurant a symbol of resilience, creativity, and success. The stability the family achieved was a testament to the power of cooperation, love, and faith in dreams. The days of struggle and uncertainty gave way to a future of prosperity and joy, where each new challenge was seen not as an obstacle but as an opportunity to grow and strengthen. If you enjoyed this story, we invite you to show your appreciation by liking it and to join our community by subscribing to the channel. Your support motivates us to continue delivering compelling stories almost every day. Don't miss the next extraordinary story we bring to your screen. Thank you for your support, and see you soon.